What is, if you could think back about it, one of the best pieces of advice you were ever given?
It's from my granddad for sure. My granddad's 103. He'll be 104 this year.
Wow.
A few years, he'll probably be 110.
Centurion?
He's this, well, yeah, Centurion would definitely be in that 100-year mark. So he has high LDL numbers, which I just learned the other day from a biologist.
Is that cholesterol?
Yeah, it's cholesterol because I have high LDL.
Oh.
Doctor was telling me like, oh, it's dangerous. We need to get that down. But other guy was telling me he's never seen a Centurion that had low LDL numbers.
Ooh.
The LDL. But we could get on medical talk all we want here. But,
yeah.
But my granddad is a Centurion. And so is my grandma. She's 102. But he said the advice that you said, the best advice I ever had. And it's something I have to remember a lot, that you can't be truly grateful with a bitter heart. And being grateful, I think, is the key to life. But there's also a key to forgetting all the things that make you bitter. And that's been my path, I think, over the last few years, is to figure out how to remove bitterness in order to truly be grateful, because I do harness a lot of bitterness that I can't necessarily easily chuck in the trash can sometimes. Over the last few years, I've had quite a few things happen in my life where I would normally, the reaction is to be bitter about it, And so I guess I was just being a normal human until my granddad, who I consider a 103-year-old man, is not really human. That doesn't seem that human. And so I'm like, what is he doing that I'm not? And it's relieving the bitterness. And so, for instance, I've had people I work with that have genuinely hurt my feelings in ways that I didn't feel at the time I deserved. And when you think you don't deserve something that's happened to you, you can hold on to bitterness. And so I did for a long time, until I realized that I don't necessarily deserve the health that I have. I don't deserve 2 beautiful children, probably. I don't deserve a lot of things that come my way. And so if you realize that and realize that there is really no such thing as bitterness other than what you exude or harness and hold on to, it gets a lot easier when you can get rid of that shit. Because for instance, a friend of mine that I went south with, working with, that was a best friend of mine for a long time. Still is, but we just don't talk. And I saw him at a gas station one day.
Was it awkward?
No. Well, I see him all the time. I'd pass him in his truck, and every time I pass him, it'd piss me off. I'd see him and it'd piss me off. And I just and then for the rest of the next 2 hours, I would just be thinking about it.
Mm.
And then one day, in the same area that I would pass him a lot, I saw him getting gas at a gas station. I was like, I'm pulling in. And I whipped in right behind him. And he didn't see me. I had a different car than I did when we stopped working together. I got out, and word for word, I said, "Hey, bitch." And he looked at me. He's like, "Whoa." I said, "Give me a hug." And I gave him a hug. And I was like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry that I've been holding this bitterness and resentment towards you, because I don't really need to. And I think we just need to be humans and accept that we both have our opinions and whatever. And he hugged me and he was like, "Dude, oh my God. This feels so good to hear you say that." He's like, he's like, "I've been wanting to tell you that same thing." And sometimes humanity, you just gotta face to face do this, what you said. Sometimes you got to get in front of someone and just be like, "Yeah, man, let's figure this out." Sometimes you just need to look at your buddy and be like, "Hey, bitch, what are we doing here?"
Yeah.
And so that helps, getting rid of that bitterness. So that's a long answer to your question of what's the best advice I ever got. It was it's from my granddad. It's the constant reminder that what you think you deserve, you're probably not going to get most of the time. And then we also get things that we don't deserve at all that are beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the children, like the health, like the happiness that sometimes others don't get, that you're wondering why you get this happiness that someone else probably deserves more than you do. It's like, just take what you get and enjoy it. And that's kind of the best advice that I feel like I've been trying to harness, like, is what it is.
Yeah. Say that quote one more time from granddad.
You can't be truly grateful if you have any bitterness in your heart. Like, you have to get rid of bitterness. So it's basically, you can't truly be grateful if you have bitterness in your heart.
Is he a man of faith?
Major. I mean, I've got, my granddad is, he's 100 and almost 4. And I love to keep his messages on my cell phone here. And these are every time. This is it. Like, stuff like this.
Good morning, Jake. Granddad here. I hope I didn't wake you up. I just want to say hello, see where you are, and remind you to take time to talk to God today, every day. Your day always goes better if you do that. I love you. Hope everything is going well for you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
It's pretty awesome, right? Like a 103-year-old guy calling you. He calls me every day. The other day, he calls all of his grandkids, not just me. I'm not special. Like, he just is a man of faith, a man of love, a man without bitterness in his heart. He's a man of God. And it's easy. I'm not a God. Like, I love faith. I'm a very Christian guy, but I'm not like, I don't talk to my friends a lot about, God and church and whatever. I grew up going to church pretty much each Sunday and, and doing all that. But like, there's something too about country music and this world of like Tennessee, Southern Bible Belt. You have like people that are like, do you go to church? They're like, we should go. And then you got other people that are like, man, I don't, there's like really no in between. And when I moved to Nashville, I remember the first person I met on Broadway, it was back when Broadway had like t-shirt shops and stuff down there. We walked in this place and I bought a Eli Western wear shirt that had roses on it. I figured I needed one moving to Nashville. And I'll never forget that guy. It was like, I was with my mom. This old man said, son, did you just move to town? And my mom said, yeah, I'm just dropping him off. Probably like all these other kids coming to town too. And he said, well, make sure you find yourself a good church. He said, there's plenty of them here. And I'll never forget that. And he's right, man. Like, it's taken me all this time because I did not find a church for 18 of the 20 years I've been here. My church has been like a tour bus on Sunday morning, getting home, and then going to, once after Saturday night show, you wake up Sunday morning at wherever bus drop off is. And you're just like so excited to get home that it seems like the last thing on earth you're doing is rushing to church at, 9:45 in the morning when you get home or something. So it took me a lot of years to realize that like I didn't remove it from my life. I just didn't prioritize it. And I think that there's a lot of reasons why things that have happened in my life has happened because I've just got away from my faith. Like I allowed myself to think that I was strong enough to walk this walk alone. And about the time that I would probably get cocky enough to think that I could do it by myself is when like shit would start to crumble. And what do you do when shit crumbles? You look to the one person that can put the pieces back together.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've figured the last few years for me has been putting a lot of pieces back together.
It's so easy when things are going good, I feel like it's so easy to not really feel like you need to rely on God. And then when things aren't going good, it's like you do go back to the one thing that where you're like, oh God, I can't control the situation. Like for me, I've had a lot of those the last few years. I can't control the outcome of this, but so I'm going to have faith and trust. And I think that's probably a lot of why your granddad has said what he's had, because you said how grateful he is and how loving he is and all those things. But I feel like that's probably because he's so connected from that message where he's like, make sure to spend some time with God today.
Yeah, well, his whole thing has always been like, we were given this life for the reason to enjoy it. Like this gift we are given is what he's constantly reminding. Like, what are you so worried about? This is meant to be spent enjoying it, not worrying about it. And the more worries that you have, like he's always told me, like, you can't do anything about the things you're worrying about. I've heard Willie Nelson say that too. Like he said one thing and look at Willie, all these years, all of his buddies are gone, man, you know, but Willie's somehow still trucking. And he always said that he's like, I just didn't tend to pay attention to or worry about things I can't control. And I will say that I've gotten a lot older in the last 2 years because I've worried about too many things that I can't control. And I've found myself resorting to things that I thought would help me not worry about things that I can't control. And that's not a good route to go either. So the constant reminder, whether it's from your granddad or whether it's looking at yourself in the mirror, just to remind yourself, like, why am I worried about this shit? Like, I can't control it. And all it's doing by worrying about it is pushing you deeper down into a hole of stuff that doesn't feel good, you know?
If you've ever wondered why you see that little Frenchie in every episode of my podcast, it's there for a reason. What I care about here is real conversation, real people, and real human connection. That's why partnering with Studio Bank made sense to me. Their mission is to empower creators. And they say that little Frenchie is more than just a logo. It's smart, active, adaptable, and a natural companion. Sophisticated, but not pompous. Rare and one of a kind. That felt like a real fit for this podcast and this show and what I'm all about. And if you're around Music Row, you've probably heard of Studio Bank or know someone that bangs with them. And there's a reason for that. They set out to rethink the typical experience, put people at the center of it, infuse innovative technology with genuine hospitality. Their whole idea is to be uncommonly modern and surprisingly human. That's a big part of why I'm proud to partner with them. They do not make you feel like a number. You get real people, real support, and a team that actually cares about what you're building, whether that's your business, your family, or your future. They also offer immediate ATM fee reversal at any ATM machine in the entire world. That's why a lot of my friends that are on the road bank with them. Visit studiobank.com or call 615-338-9998. Let them know Stephan Hogan sent you and see how Studio Bank can serve you today. Studio Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. I'm curious because like the Willie stuff, I see people like him and I'm like, man, I wish I could. And I think a lot of people feel this way when you see a guy like him. I wish I could be that carefree. I wish I could care less about the stupid stuff that circles in my brain and I get into thought looping. And I think a lot of people just want to be like, can't do anything about it, so I'm not going to worry about it. And in theory, it's great. But in practice, I feel like it's very hard. It's like something you have to almost train yourself to do.
Yeah,
do you feel that way?
Well, yeah, you just said something pretty important to acknowledge that I think would help you. Like, I mean, you just said, I wish sometimes I could do this and do that and whatever. And I'll just tell you as your new friend that you can't. Stop wishing. Stop wishing for it. Just fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like, I think people spend too much time wishing for things instead of just going, like my granddad said, like, you're here to do it. Like, the life was given for you to do this. So you have the option to worry about it, or you have the option to do the things that you think is what's best for you. And getting back to the Willie Nelson thing, something I think is a beautiful example is like Willie has found his own way to be happy, be Willie Nelson, have people admire Willie for who he is outside the songwriting, just he is, him as a human, him as how he carries himself, right? Well, I've been really fortunate and lucky enough and been able to play music with and jam with Lucas Nelson, his son. And I've got to tell you, man, I find Lucas to be one of the most like bright lights of people to talk to like this, like one-on-one, like you feel connected to him in ways because he's really in tune with what you're saying. He cares about what you're saying, but I think that stems from him fully understanding himself because he's gone through a lot too. But what he told me one time about, like he cut all his hair off. He's super fit. He looks awesome. Like he feels awesome. Like, and you can see it in him. And instead of like he said to me, he's like, being Willie's son, everybody wants me to be like have braids and smoke weed. And that was my whole life, you know? And he's like, I want to be Lucas Nelson. I want to be who I'm meant to be. I want to live this life. And I can see that in him. And when you see people doing what they say they're going to do, like it's inspiring, man. Like he wasn't like, and I wasn't to knock you by saying like, I wish sometimes I didn't. Like we all use that term,
I like that.
Wish. But sometimes if you can switch the word wish to like, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this. Like when I do that, I get way better at it. When I wish for things, it takes way longer for it to happen. Because sometimes wishes don't come true. But knowing you're going to do it, that's usually like, I if I look back at my life when I was in Tallahassee, I was like, I wish one day I would make it I wish I could get to Nashville. Like that was a different conversation. That'd be a different conversation with myself than when I called my parents. It was like, hey guys, like you're probably not expecting this, but I'm going to Nashville. And I think that gets back to the whole granddad living life. It's given to you. What are you going to do with it? Like I look back on that part of my life too. And I'm like, I took the initiative on something I could have wished upon, but I just did it. And by doing it is what opened up Pandora's box. Wishing doesn't. Anyway, getting back to that. I just think that's something cool to think about.
It is cool that you said that because, well, dude, I appreciate it, honestly. Now that we're just bros. Yeah, I think it's easy to like have these negative, like, wish, like I wish, or like I don't know, like if a bunch of things went wrong in life, it's like my life's been so hard lately. And the more you say my life's so hard, the harder life gets, versus like even if I didn't feel a certain way and I started to say like I'm great, like eventually you start to kind of believe it. I watched this Tony Robbins thing once, and he basically remembers a point like you were just saying, where he removed a word from his vocabulary. I don't remember what it was, but it was one of those self-deprecating words. And he's like, I'm never going to say like this to myself again. And he drew a line in the sand. And for him, it was just like, even if he feels that way, I'm never going to like say that over myself. Yeah, which I think is what you're kind of saying too, with the wish thing. I'm not going to like wish things over myself. I'm going to do it, take action. And even if it's not a feeling that I feel yet, I'm not going to.
Well, like getting back to my friend, you know, I could have wished that one day magically we became friends again. I could have wished that one day he came to me and he said sorry, you know? Or
you pull up.
You have the beautiful gift of the sun coming up one morning. You have the gift of health. You have the gift of, the gift of a car that works, that I'm driving down the road. Like nothing's wrong. But there he was. There was that thing. And I could have passed by it that day too. I could have passed by him again and been pissed for the next 2 hours about why this happened. But for some reason in me, and maybe it was me finally accepting him talking to me, like, dude, pull the car over. Go end this today. And I did. I was just like, I don't even know what happened. She's like, it was like less time for me to think, should I not? Like just instinctively, I just went poof and pulled over, and I got out. And I look back at that day and I'm like, I'm so glad I did that. Like it removed thousands of pounds of a weighted blanket that felt like it was on top of me. And I'm sure it felt good for him too, you know?
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't mean like we haven't got back to like, we're not like barbecuing and stuff together, but like it felt good to take the gift that, you know, our greater faith has, and it's given us to live this life. And it felt good to make the most of it that day, then taking it the opposite direction and thinking that why is this happening to me? Like we're in charge of our day. Make it the most you want.
I'm curious about in your career, like there's this huge hockey stick upswing when fame happens. And like you had this dream, came to Nashville, and you took action and came, and then you've had all this success. We talked about enjoying life. Was it enjoyable for you, or was it always wanting more?
I don't want any more. I don't need anything more.
I remember watching some award show one year, and you were outside in front of it was Bridgestone, and there was like beach balls and Like they were going around. It's back when you had long hair. And like in those seasons of your life, were you just very present in those moments? Or did you feel, because I talked to some folks on this podcast that feel like they get to a mountaintop and then they just see a higher one?
I'm 44 now. So when I was 34, 10 years ago, it was right about at 30, Barefoot Blue Jean Night came out. Okay. I got my record deal at 23. So 7 years into my career, I had a song that people finally were like, I know who this guy is. You know, I had songs before that were hits, but they weren't like massive. And that song kind of changed my life. And all of a sudden I became the beach guy. Like seriously, like even now, like I'll play a show with my boots on. People are like, why do you have shoes on? You know, I'm like, because I felt like wearing them today. But people all of a sudden started establishing me as like the barefoot guy that had long hair. And at that point, like it was cool that I had some success, but I'd already felt like when I moved to Nashville, I was successful. Like I felt like I was successful when I was on a bar stool in Tallahassee and people were giving me money and free beer. Like that, I felt just as much as a rock star then as I feel right now. There's never been a time in my life where I've been like, holy shit, I've made it. Like I've just done what I like to do. And I set off to do it. And I guess I should feel like I feel bad sometimes in moments where people are like, dude, aren't you more excited about this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm excited, but like I wanted to do this. Like it wasn't like it sounds like a messed up thing to say. Like you're not like, I feel my mom always said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I think sometimes the way I say things gives others the thought that I'm not grateful or I'm not happy about it. Like I have been more fulfilled through music than in what I've done more than anything else in life. But there's also a time that I think it's okay when people are like, I got enough of this. I got everything I needed out of this. So like, what's the big deal? What's next? The whole what's next? There's a bigger mountain to climb. Like, where is it? Like, so my life's always been like, I don't know what's next, but what's next usually comes from what my heart tells me it is. Like, it's not my brain telling me what it is. It's like my heart leads me to things that I should be doing. And then my brain tells me whether or not it's the right thing or not. Like, but the heart is what leads. And so that answer of like, what's next? Or did I feel like it was like everything it was meant to be? Like, I'm still figuring that out. Like, I've just never put like, the only reason I moved to Nashville, I think in the first place was because I just wanted to be with other people that understood the same thing I did. Like in college, I was a guy, I wanted to play music. I wanted people to like it, but I got tired of playing the Joker in Sweet Home Alabama. I want to play my own music. So I'm like, I can get to Nashville and play with people that want to do the same thing I do. I won't feel like an outcast there. And once I got here, I was here and I felt successful. And I was like, damn, this is it. And I got a record deal and I was like, oh, this is cool too. But it wasn't like the record deal didn't feel any cooler or better than just getting to Nashville did. Like all those things feel the same to me. They're just things that you accomplish. They're not like, if you walk around my house, I would challenge anyone to see, like, I've had like lots of success, but like you won't see like Jake Owen plaques on the wall. I don't give a shit about that. Like I don't like, you'll see tons of pictures though that I've taken of like my friends and my family, cool black and whites, like, cause those are the
Leica.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are the things that to me are like where I stop amongst walking through my house, and I'll stop and be like, whoa, that was a cool picture from Stagecoach and wherever, you know, but I'm not like going to stop by a plaque that says there was so many sales or streams or whatever. Like this is, because it doesn't matter. No one cares. Like other than yourself, it's
self-aggrandizing in a way. I could see why people would do it, but I also get why you wouldn't do it. John Mayer doesn't do it. He's talked about it, and I don't think I would do it either, because it's not defining who you are.
I have a 2009 Top New Male Vocalist Award for the Academy of Country Music.
Yeah.
And every now and then, like I see it like sitting down below like this little shelf in my like barn, and it's got dust on it. It's like, and I think about like in that moment, like I guess it was cool, to win that. But like I wanted at the same time that I was top new male vocalist. Zach Brown Band was the top new group, and perfect story. What Julianne Hough was the top new female vocalist, and then they voted on who was the top new artist for that year for the ACM Awards, and you know who won?
Who?
Julianne Hough. My point is, Zach Brown's playing this Fear. Jake's doing what Jake's doing, whatever. But like, what's Julianne Hough doing? Like, is she in country music? Is she? No, she's not. And it's not to knock her or whatever she was at that time. But like, does that define, like, was her winning the top new artist of that year in 2009 for the Academy of Country Music Awards, like, define country music? Does it, like, do people look back on that and go like, man, I remember the year? Like, no. Like, which is the same reason, like, when I look at that trophy, like, it doesn't, no disrespect to the Academy or anything like that, but like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't like make you any, like, that award that Julianne Hough won that year has not furthered her country music career, nor has it, maybe furthered others. I don't know what that means, other than like the idea that there's always something bigger and better that's going to make your life better by winning that award or getting that number one song or whatever. Your happiness is just going to come from you and what you find to like makes you happy. And certain people put their happiness in places that like it's never going to be fulfilling. So I will say that like most of my guys that I work with and stuff, they'll tell you like I can sound unhappy a lot of times. My unhappiness is just usually stems from frustration of like just things not happening fast enough. It's more like impatience than unhappiness. I'm pretty.
So you like speed because you'll get an idea and you'll be like, let's go.
Yeah. I'm let's do it now. Like, I'm not waiting. I don't like to plan things.
Yeah.
People are always like, bro, you should have told me you were going to do this. I was like, I didn't even know I was going to do this like a week ago. So like, don't be offended.
Funny. I just got, not too long ago, I got diagnosed with adult ADHD, and it explains a lot because I didn't graduate high school. I did terrible in school. But is that something, do you know if you have ADHD or not? Because one of the things I found out about it is like people with it, they might be like unorganized or whatever, and their kitchen's dirty. But like if there's something that they get an idea about and they just go full flex 100%.
I've never cared to go get diagnosed. I mean,
yeah.
I probably figured I am, but I don't need somebody to tell me that I am.
Yeah.
Like, what's it going to do? We're going to give me some medicine and tell me to chill out?
Yeah, man, they were talking about the traits of those folks and how successful they are. And how many people that are successful have that. And that's one of the reasons for their ability to do things.
But what is success?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know, but I think the world defines it as fame. I think it defines it as money. I think it defines it as notoriety. And it's optics. It's all just optics.
Yeah,
but for me, for my definition of success, it would be that I am healthy, that I can be with my family, and that we can pay our bills, and that we can do quality things together, and I can be with the people that I love. That's success. That I can raise my 3-year-old son to be a good man, that I can be a good dad.
Yeah.
Those are success for me. But I also struggle with the outside thing that you said you don't struggle with, which is the, like, I need to reach this point. Or I need to get this many subscribers on the thing. And when that happens, then I'll feel this way. And so I also struggle with that side, It's kind of a juxtaposing definition.
But it's human. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why my granddad said, like, don't be bitter about things. Like, just be grateful for the opportunities you do have. Because there's been times I've been bitter, like that ACM thing I'm talking about, like won the top new male vocalist in 2009. I've had 10 number one songs, but I've never in my life been on the ACM Awards. I've never performed on the awards. I've never performed on the CMA Awards. Never, ever, once. And they were like, well, you got to get nominated, because if you're nominated, they'll let you play on the show. Well, I've been nominated for both shows. I never played on the show. They just fucking moved the goalpost.
Yeah.
And so those kind of things, if you're an artist that's done, I mean, it's not just like doing the work as far as being a songwriter or an artist or touring and being on a bus and sleeping on it for 20 years, driving on the road. Like for me, it wasn't like, I didn't want to be on the stage because I wanted the attention. Like, I don't need any more attention. I wanted to be on the stage because I wanted to feel like the town, like finally said, like, welcome to the club, welcome to the party. When you constantly feel like you're outside of it, you can find yourself being bitter about it. But like, I finally got to the point where I was like, none of this, I haven't like my friend, I've got lots of friends. I don't even need to name them, but like great other artists that I look at too. And I'm like, oh, they're getting shafted too. Like, but they don't care. Like they're still making money. They're making it. And that's that bitterness you just have to release. Like I realized for too long, I kept holding on to it, and it affected the people around me, and it affected myself. So
was it the comparison thing? Like, is that what people struggle with? You think most?
When you say people, you mean others or me?
You were talking about your buddies, like they got shafted, but they're making money, but they're like not getting the.
When I say shafted, I just mean like it's just like there's obvious reasons people should be acknowledged for the things that they're doing on a great level
within the industry,
and then then they don't. And like I'm not talking me, I'm talking like I haven't been on any of these award shows or anything in a couple of years. Like I haven't even gone to them. But I see others that are going to them, that are nominated, that should win easily, that aren't. And it's just, it's something that person could probably be like, what the hell, man? Why am I, or their team or anything. But when you realize the grand scheme of things, like they're still winning, they're still doing winning, meaning the big game. Like that's just a night on TV that quite frankly, a few weeks later, people, don't even remember. And so I think, the people that have done a good job at like just not caring about that kind of stuff and doing like those seem to be the happiest, those or the ones that are winning.
Yeah. Artists, managers, labels. Are you looking for a high quality, affordable merch item your biggest fans will actually buy? Custom branded merch guitars from the Graphic Guitar Guys are one of the highest grossing tour products, often second only to t-shirts with 300 to 400% markups. They're an easy way to brand specific tours, albums, or a special project, and not offering them leaves real money on the table at any career level. With unbeatable pricing, top-tier quality, fast turnaround times, and hands-on customer service, the Graphic Guitar Guys work with everyone from stadium acts to bands touring in a van. Do yourself or your artist a favor and see what the Graphic Guitar Guys can do for you. Yeah, the Willie Nelsons of the world, that attitude, or the Vince Gill thing. Like, when I first moved here, I got to know him. And
Vince is the best.
He is, dude. He's like, I learned in my career that I could release a record that I thought was awesome, but I couldn't control if it was going to be a number one, if it was going to have a number one. But I find something interesting in talking to you. That those things at the highs or the lows, there's almost a neutrality line where you're like, this at the top of whatever mountain or stadium or wherever the biggest thing you ever played was, or the smallest place where you ever played and you said, I'm winning. You were winning here and you were winning here. And when you were winning in both of those places, it seems like your emotional EQ, from what I'm hearing, is kind of like the same. Is that pretty accurate? I just
feel responsible. Like, I know you said you can't control the outcome. Like, that's what Vince Gill said.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in music, whatever, but like, I feel like you kind of can. Like, I'm respectfully disagreeing with Vince because he's like the greatest of all time when it comes to not just being a patriarch for country music and someone that you can really model yourself after as far as like a like kindness and he's really that way. The way I've always drifted is, I guess the best way I could put this is this past year I played golf too. So I played this Lake Tahoe.
You're a big golfer, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in Northern California, by the way, an hour from Tahoe.
All right. Well, so Tahoe, the last few years, I've been lucky enough to get that invite. And this year, it was funny. Like the first couple of years, I wanted to do well. It was my first time out there. My best friend Marty has won it a couple times, and we grew up playing together. And we'd battle it out as kids, and I'd beat him, he'd beat me. So like I knew that I was good enough to go out there and play. First couple of years, I played okay, finished like top 10. And this year, the last day, I was leading it. I was in the lead, and so therefore, like getting back to like it was up to me. Whatever I was doing in that moment, granted it's different than music, but like it was up to me. And in that mindset, why I was leading this year was I didn't care. That sounds so weird to think, right? Like the first 2 years I cared so much and I could not make it happen. But getting back to like the Vince thing, like once I let go this year and was like, I'm good enough in my mind. I'm like, I'm good enough to be here. I'm good enough to beat every one of these guys out here. I just got to go do it and let it happen. And I did. Like I was letting it happen. And I was all of a sudden my caddy looked at me and goes, dude, you're leading. You can win this tournament. And I said, why did you tell me that? Yeah, why did you just tell me that?
Tell me that.
And so when he told me that, I got all up in my head and I tried to start like for the next like holes, I was trying to guide my golf game. No different than like, if you're trying to guide your music career instead of just playing it, just believing you're good enough to do it, just letting it live. I find that I live way better in letting things happen than I do when I'm trying to micromanage it. And I learned a lot this year at the Tahoe. I use that as a relating.
So what happened on that?
I finished third. And
because you got in your head from knowing that
I just made some mistakes because I started getting in my head thinking that, I do have a chance. Oh man, I better start dialing this in. Let's play more careful. And then when you start overthinking things is when things become overthought.
So when you'll see a dude miss a 2-foot putt and like some high pressure.
He was overthinking it.
US Open thing. Because he's
he can close his eyes and make that same putt 100 times in a row.
Yeah.
But like when you think about, you let your mind, there's a book I read called Golf's Not a Game of Perfect. I think it relates a lot to life, but he spoke about if you put a 2x4 on the ground and you ask every person in the surrounding area, 100 people around here to walk across that 2x4 that's laying on the ground, 10 foot, everybody'd be like, no problem. Take the same 2x4 and put it 20 feet in the air and tell people to walk across it. And a lot of like people would be like, no way, I'm not, because their thought is I'm going to fall, but you're not. It's the same 2x4 you just walked on, but it's just 20 feet in the air now. But the power of the mind can make you feel off balance, right? And so getting back to everything we've talked about today, it's like not wishing things, not whatever, like believing that this can happen and just doing it. And when I go back to the most successful parts of my life, whether it's moving to Nashville, whatever, I just believed that it would happen. And those times that I believed and fully believed, shit happened. And the times that I was like, oh no, like I can win this tournament, I'm worried now. Like, how do I do it? Is when it all came crashing down. So I just think what are we talking about right now? How do we get all around this?
Belief is when things happen.
It is.
These are the things that these are my curiosities, because I wish I could go back and talk to the younger me sometimes. Because, and that's the ethos of this podcast as well, is like, what's the advice that I would have given a younger me? There's a lot of principles I take out of conversations like this that I think help other people, and just hearing us talk about it,
I think it's important too, though, to do the reverse. I think it's important to have your younger self remind your older self of who you were then too, though. Because everybody talks about like, everyone always asks that question. What would you tell your younger self? Dude, there's days I wish my younger self would smack me across the face as a 44-year-old guy and be like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're not old. You are good. You moved here. Remember, I told you to move here when you probably shouldn't have, but you just believed you could. And that's why shit happened. So what are you doing now, that 44-year-old worrying about stuff not happening? Like, that's why it's not happening, because you're worried about it. Yeah. That's what my younger self would tell me. Like, because as you get older, you start protecting. You have more things. I didn't have kids when I was 23 and moved up here. I didn't have, people to take care of and bills to pay and all that. All I had to take care of was me. So it's a little easier to believe in yourself. You don't have those things. So it's obvious as you get older to have responsibilities. Yeah. But you definitely need your younger self to remind you sometimes just as much as you need your older self to give your younger self advice.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I love that inverse. That's something, what's his name? Amazon owner. Why can't I think about it?
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos said, people always ask me what's going to happen in the next 10 years, but they never ask me what's not going to change in the next 10 years. They always ask me what's going to change, not what's not going to change. And it's like that inverse thing you just pulled on me, and now I'm going to have to think about that, because that's a great question.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's amazing parts of your life when you were 20 to 22 years old that you wish you kind of still had that tenacity that you don't have now. And that's part of you needs that younger self to tell you, like, it's still in you. You've shoved it back in the back closet.
Yeah.
Go pull it out. We had a place called Vinyl Fever that has sold records, and you could trade stuff in, and like you could trade some CDs in and get some new ones. And I didn't have any money in college. So when Napster hit, like everyone hates on Napster and LimeWire and all that, but that was what changed my musical journey. Was, oh my God, like I now can download an entire, sorry Merle, but thanks for the music. Like, I mean, I remember downloading Merle Haggard's entire catalog and listening to it, and I'd never heard Merle Haggard. Like I'd never heard songs from Merle Haggard that I got to hear all of a sudden in an instant that changed my path of like my career. Like, like some of the only old stuff that I'd heard was like when my dad, I could take the boat fishing, and then my dad would let me borrow his truck. And I remember the first time I opened up my dad's console, and he had like a Keith Whitley album in there, and he had this old Vern Gosdin super hits album. And I remember putting Vern Gosdin on for the first time when I was like 14, 15. I was like, this dude's voice is amazing. And I always had a low voice. So like, I loved singing along with him. And that's what got me into all those old songs. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
You know that good-hearted woman in love with a good-timing man?
Waylon?
Yeah, that song. That always has been kind of a cornerstone for me of the feel that I love musically. That like, I don't know what you would describe that like 1-5 kind of like bass thing,
Yeah. It's like mamas don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. And even Glenn Campbell had a song. What was the famous one about the couch?
General on My Mind?
Yeah, General. Yeah.
About the couch. That's interesting. Out of that entire song, that's the part you like. The song that had the thing about the couch and the sleeping bag behind it.
Yeah. Well, it's such a visual.
I know, it's really interesting. It's cool to hear how people reference songs. Like that was your like.
Yeah. You went out to LA during the fires, the Palisades. I remember me and Haley were there. What was the process of making that record like? But more than that, what was the most special part about it for you?
We all need people to believe in us. Like I don't care who you are. Like I'm a confident guy. Most people would tell you that, but I'm also a human. I'm also like, when I don't feel like people are believing in what I'm doing, like, then I don't feel like I have like some fuel in my tank that I need. But when you have someone that comes up and goes, dude, I don't care like what anyone else thinks. Like, I think you could do this. Here's some gasoline to your tank. Let's go put the pedal to the metal. And that was what felt cool about making that record with Shooter.
And there was it was you and like 5 guys, right?
Well, it was me and his guys. Like Shooter, guys. I didn't even know his guys. I literally brought out, there were some songs. My buddy Kendall Marvel, who's an incredible songwriter, a friend of mine who I also met through Jimmy Ritchie, thank God.
Oh, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Come on.
But Kendall just said to me too, he believed in me. I called Kendall, I was like, dude, would you go to LA with me and make a record with Shooter Jennings? And he was like, hell yeah. And he has his own artistry going on. He has his own songwriting life going on. Like he has his family, daughters, grandkids. And Kendall took time out of his life to go to LA and believe in me and told everyone. It wasn't even about believing in me. He was telling people. Kendall Marvel's going around Nashville telling the cool kids, the cool people he makes records with, that the record that Jake's making is badass. And like, I don't think he knows like what that means to me.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, man. The power of belief is I run on the insecurity side of things and need someone to like reassure me that hey, you're good at whatever, because that inner critic will just be loud sometimes for me, and it comes from probably childhood and being performance based on different things, where you're judged on your performance. Therefore, if you're not performing well, then your identity is tied to it, and if you're not performing well, then you're a failure, and it's very binary. It's like you either are doing great or you suck. And when I have people, or even I go back to some of the conversations or Vince talking about me or this guitar competition that I was a finalist in, those things, I'll remind myself of like someone who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, because I feel like it's so hard. I can't imagine being told there were no good songs on your record.
Especially from people that helped you curate it. That's the best part.
Is that just the music business?
Oh man, it's just like it wasn't that there weren't good songs on it, man. It was just they didn't have the balls to tell me. They just didn't have the bandwidth at the time to put into me. They like as they were putting into the others that they managed at the label. They had more of a return business on. Like it just came down to business.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, and Seth and Joey and all the guys at Big Loud, they know this. Like we all have a mutual. We did a lot for each other. Like they helped raise my bar and my persona as a musician more than I could have ever dreamed of. And at the same time too, I think Joey would tell you that like I fought for him. Like I remember walking in to Tony Brown, who's obviously iconic producer, Vince Gill, Steve Earle, you name it, right? Played with Elvis, Country Music Hall of Famer. I remember going and telling Tony Brown, hey man, I hope you don't mind. I love these songs we've cut. But is it cool if I get this guy that produced Nickelback to produce my country album? And I'll never forget. That's why I love Tony Brown. And that's why I think there's people like that in this town that, you know, they're great at what they do, is because they believe in artists when they see an artist believing in what they're doing. And Tony said to me without hesitation, Jake, I think that's a cool idea. And if you believe in that, I can't wait to hear what you guys do. And I was like, damn, I was scared to tell Tony Brown that, because I thought he was going to be like, do you realize you're talking to Tony Brown? Right? But he didn't. And that's what makes Tony Brown great, is Tony Brown has always done what he thinks best for that artist. If that artist believes that that's what's best for them, Tony Brown just helps them get to that point. Like he made Steve Earle sound like Steve Earle. He made Vince Gill sound like Vince Gill. They don't all sound the same. Like if you look at all the stuff Tony Brown's done, it's all different, but it's because he believed in that artist. And I heard Vince Gill say that at the Hall of Fame induction for him. So anyways, I would not be where I am without the belief of Seth and Joey and you know, obviously Craig Wiseman and that whole crew over there. They changed my life. And I still talk to like Stacy and the whole crew over the promo team over there. They got me 5 number ones in a row, or 4. Felt like Down to the Honky Tonk was a big number 1, but only went to number 5. But it goes to show you. It felt
like a number 1. It was a great song.
It's the biggest song like I play in my set. But it goes to show you too that like we all put emphasis on songs hitting number 1.
Yeah.
And if they don't, like you can get down on yourself or think, why didn't it happen? But like they're still slapping out on the road. Like the people love it.
Yeah. The America's the ultimate A&R.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a Craig Wiseman quote. I think I heard
He's
him
got
say
a lot of them.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of them.
Have you and Keith been together for a long time? I'm just curious. I can cut this out.
Yeah, no. Keith, I met Keith when I got a record deal at RCA, so 22 years ago.
How important is, like, I'm curious
21
about
21 years ago.
21 years ago?
Well, 2005, 2026 right now. You do the math.
Wow. Dude, so a manager, like, I'm curious about the manager-artist relationship on a long term.
Well, Keith was my promo guy at RCA Records for 13 or 14 years. So I was managed by Clint Hyam and Dale Morris, and I was like the Kenny Chesney like underling for a long time, which thank God, because Kenny,
you were out with Dirks, right?
The first tour I ever went out on was with Kenny Chesney and Dirks Bentley. And then I quickly went out with, after that, I was out with like Brooks and Dunn, Alan Jackson, you know, Little Big Town, Sugarland, Carrie Underwood, Brad Paisley. I was like out. It seemed like I was out with everybody in those early years. But I was managed by Clint and those guys who managed Alabama, who were heroes of mine. I love Randy Owen. And so it was like 13, 14 years there with Joe Galani and Renee Bell signed me over at RCA. And that's when I met Keith, who was my promo guy. And then when it was time, like the chapter just hit in life where it was time to go my separate ways from Clinton and Hyam, or Clinton, Dale Morris, and those guys, which I still love them too. I asked Keith, I was like, hey, why don't you just manage me? You've always been in my corner and you believe in me. And he said, I'll leave my desk job today. And he did. He walked in and quit his job after 20 something years at RCA. He just quit and said, I believe in this guy. And
Wow.
This is pretty awesome, man. That's what and again, goes back to people believing in you. It's made me feel incredible. There's been times, obviously, you work with anybody for long enough times. It's not always, especially in a business where you want what's best for yourself, but you're trying to do it as a partnership. It's not always easy, but it goes back to the belief, in a time where certain people maybe weren't believing in what my belief was and where I thought I should be going, like he did, And so that's what I tend to be drawn to.
So you guys had a prior existing relationship because he was in promo. So you got to know him before he ever became your manager.
Oh yeah.
So
I actually used to have a lot more conversations with Keith, sometimes about my life and career and at the time, more than I was having conversations with my own management at the time. But we're doing things hand in hand in partnership. When you have a record deal at a major label, you're talking to your promo guy a lot about promotional things you're going to be doing with radio stations. And so he'd call me a lot and say, hey, Jake, we got to go to San Antonio and go do this thing. So, and he'd explain
and then
why.
You'd go with him.
I'd be like, okay, cool. And, everything that I did seemed to work out.
I'm intrigued by those relationships. I forget the short guy that managed the Eagles. What was his name?
Irving Azoff.
Yeah. How big his impact was, in that relationship. It's cool to hear those stories that you didn't jump around, but y'all stuck it out together. If we were both gone tomorrow, if we both died tomorrow, but you could leave one piece of advice to the next generation, what would it be?
Probably what my granddad told me, just be grateful, and you can't be grateful with bitterness, right? Be grateful for every step along the way and not looking forward to what's next all the time, just be happy for what you have in that moment. Because sometimes we're always worried about what's next when we're not even guaranteed tomorrow. So how can you be worried about something or longing for something that, I told this to my friend the other day, who's the son of a best friend of mine. He's recently getting married. And he's got a little wife. They're getting ready, a little fiance, and they're building a house. And I just finished building a house. It took me 3 years to build. And during the last 3 years of building this house, I also was going through a separation of my personal life and my daughter not living with me anymore and all this happening. And I learned a lot during that. I learned that what my buddy said to me the other day was, I said, hey man, what do you, I'm excited for you guys to get married and whatever. And he goes, man, I just want to get this house done. I just can't wait to get this house done. And when he said that, I go, let me give you a reminder of something that I learned along the way. This house build is that I remember going to London last year or whatever it was. And all I could think about was I didn't want to go, is because I was afraid something was going to happen to me. And all I wanted to do was get home to see the finality of this house that I've been building for 3 years. And I kept somehow in my mind telling myself that if something happened to me, I'm not going to be back to see this house that I've built, that I've been spending so much of my time, energy, money, everything on. And in that moment, it hit me. It was God shook me. It was don't you see what you have right now? Why are you so concerned with what you will have? That's the wrong way to look at life. like, why don't you look at the fact that like you're able to go to London, you're able to go play for people that will enjoy you, you're able to have a healthy daughter, and like, why is the one thing you're focusing on that is the house down the road? Like, and in that moment, like, it started recurring to me that like I got to start spending more time being excited for the things that are like right here, right now, as opposed to worrying about the things that are gonna happen. And that's the advice that I would give to anyone, is that like, you can find so much more pleasure in things that are right in front of you than you can in the pleasure that shall come from things that you're longing for. And that's what I told my buddy the other day. I was like, dude, look at the wife, the fiance you have right now, and your health, and you're 20 something years old building a house. Like look forward to getting home later today and kissing her on the cheek. Like, that's what you should look forward to. Don't look for it. He understood what I was saying. But I think it's like, you got to remind yourself that. And so I'm only saying it out loud because I'm still to this day, like, trying to remind myself of that. Like, just stop worrying about the things long-term and just handle what's like right here, right now.
I love that, man. Don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow's got enough worries of its own.
I wrote a song with my friend Bob Regan a long time ago, and I actually just played it a few weeks ago on tour because someone yelled it out, and I haven't played it in like 15 years. Someone's like, play Green Bananas. And I wrote this song called Green Bananas, where it's about, I don't buy green bananas. I don't play the lottery. Right now, it's pretty much all I got going, and that's just fine for me. And I don't own an umbrella. I guess if it rains, I'm going to get wet. And I definitely don't buy green bananas because I don't plan that far ahead. And that's always been my kind of life's mantra. I think most people would tell you that know me, like, I don't really plan things. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And that's been why I think I've been successful, is because in those moments, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just doing it. And that's why I say, don't worry about tomorrow, because it's not guaranteed. And the reason I wrote that song is my buddy that I used to fish with as a kid had a boat called Green Bananas, and he named it after his buddy that passed away from cancer. And his buddy told him in the hospital, he said, I'll give you a new piece of advice, man. Don't buy green bananas because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And I think that's a good way to live. Just like, live for today, man. Make the most of it.
Jake, that's really cool. It's another really cool visual. I appreciate you being on the podcast. I'm thinking now about the green banana analogy. Every time I'm in the grocery store, I'm probably going to think different about bananas. I'm thinking about my younger self talking to me instead of flipping it like we always do.
Yeah.
These are some paradigm shifts for me going on in this conversation. And what your grandpa said, you can't be truly grateful if you have bitterness in your heart.
Yeah. Stop wishing and start doing, man.
I love that. You've been awesome.
Likewise.
I appreciate you being so honest and open.
Well, that's what this is for, man.
Yeah, dude. I appreciate it, because you never know. I mean, it's different with everybody, but you've been really chill and honest and challenged me. That you're the first person to like do that on a podcast.
What do you mean?
Like push back on me a little bit to help me be better.
I don't mean to do that, but I think I do that to everyone. Sometimes when I talk to them, and like, I like conversation that seems like it's we're not agreeing on everything, but like, as I was saying earlier, like, it's so cool to find an agreement long term with two people that may not see it the same way, but then you're like, oh, I see where you're coming from, you see where I'm coming from, and then we reach a resolve, which is like beautiful for both of us. Yeah,
man. Guys, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. It's your free gift to the podcast. It really helps us out a lot. Over half of you aren't subscribed. And I think it's really cool when someone can release music and they own the masters, because it's a huge thing for an artist to be able to have that ownership over their music. And so, again, thanks for tuning in, and go check out Jake's stuff. And if you learned something from this, or if something stood out to you, leave it in the comments. And I'll see you guys back next week. Peace.